Ooh.
Oh. Go. Welcome back to Don't Sweat It, the show inside a sauna. I'm Andrei, this is Jen, and as the sauna heats up, the questions get hotter.
That's right. We'll start at level 1, and by level 5, the heat index, which factors in both temperature and humidity, means that our bodies are going to be experiencing what feels like over 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Can our guests survive and make it to the end? Let's start the clock and find out.
Today, we're speaking with Andrei's roommate and childhood best friend, Angelo Clinton.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Angelo? Welcome to the pod.
What's up, roomie?
Thank you. What's up, man? Long time no see.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I do marketing for the city of Vegas. I create content for our social pages and whatnot. And then prior, I used to work for other companies, and I did marketing for them as well. And yeah, I just love marketing, I guess. I don't know.
And as a millionaire, you are my roommate.
Yeah.
For how many years now?
Since 2018, so about 4 years.
4 years.
Going on 5? Yeah.
But take us back. When did we actually meet?
So we met when I was 5, and you were what, like
I was 9.
9? Yeah, right.
That's
Wow.
insane.
How cool is that to have such a close friend who you go way back with? You've gone through all these different stages of life together.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you guys know your most embarrassing stories.
For
all the dirt.
sure. Yeah, it's so crazy because like we're each other's like first friends here in America.
Yeah, the funniest story is how we actually met, which is, so I'm riding down my bicycle right around the corner, around the block, and I see this little kid riding on a green Huffy bike. And I'm like, who's that kid? And anyway, he just stops one point and he says, hey, what's your name? I'm like, Andrei. My name's Angelo. Want to come over?
Yeah, and I was like, you want to come over? He's like, yeah, sure. He came over. My mom made some like noodles.
Whoa. Hold on. Before you get too ahead of yourself, you just be like, yeah, okay, now we're friends. Come over. Which is crazy to me because you can't really do that as an adult.
Yeah, it's very
Like,
creepy.
You can't be like, hey, want to come over? It's like, not how we make friends anymore.
It's like imagine being
Get
like
on
in
your
the
green
club.
bike.
Yeah, imagine like being in the club. You go up to like someone who's like, hey, you want to be friends?
Hey,
You
my
want to
name's
come
Angelo.
over?
Want to be friends? Want to come over?
Yeah, it's like
You're like,
whoa.
no.
You like cover your drink and you're like, no.
Yeah. So anyway, I go to his house, right? And I've never had in my life like any food, like American food ever. I just got to the U.S. I was 9 years old. I barely knew how to speak English. And he's like, oh, are you hungry? I'm like, sure. Like, I didn't even know if I understood what hungry was. You're like, I was like, yeah, I'll have some of that.
Yeah, right.
And his mom serves us this, like, the most delicious soup I've ever had in my life. I was like, wow, your mom's such a good cook. He's like, I know. But looking back at it, though, it was ramen soup.
Yeah.
It was a top ramen.
I think it was like Indomie. Yeah.
Yeah, little dollar soups, but it was like the most delicious thing I've ever had.
Those
Still the
things are
best.
good.
Still hits the spot.
Heck yeah. And then, growing up, we just had the craziest stories, and we go way, way, way back. And you're like basically my little brother, and I've known you forever, which is so cool to have you on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Happy to be here. And it's so crazy how like close we are because there was like a long period of time that we didn't even talk for even like maybe like 6 years. But then we were always like, you know, when you have really close friends, you can hit up and like after a long time, it just feels like you spoke to them the day before.
Yep.
Like that's like how we are, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like no time has passed. You
Yeah,
just catch up on what's
exactly.
been going on and you jump right back into.
Exactly.
I think we lost touch throughout college. I think you went to college. You
Yeah.
went for how long?
A little bit of high school too, because I know you moved across town during high school.
Yep.
And then I saw you here and there because of Joey, and then from college when we actually stopped talking for a long time. So maybe like 6 years.
Wow. So after that, how did you guys reconnect? I mean, now you're super close. You're roommates. Like, how
Well,
did you?
You want to tell us that story?
Yeah, no. So actually, I think I saw maybe Andrei like once or twice like, during college. Like I remember I was like dating this girl one time, and this was when we were still living on the Strip, right?
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I'm on the Strip with my girl. Like, are you still like living there? He's like, yeah, I came over, and then I was dating this other girl for like I think like 6-7 years. And then I was like, hey, Andrei, I was like, what are you guys doing? I was like, there's a girl I want to introduce you to and stuff like that. And yeah, from then on, the girl and I broke up. We were living together. And then I hit up Andrei. He had an extra room, so that's when I moved in with him. And then, yeah, the rest is
And this
history.
girl kind of ruined your credit score, right?
No, that was the girl before.
Oh, that was the girl before.
That was the girl
Jeez,
before.
okay.
So
like
that was
there's
the
a
one he
story
met.
here.
Yeah, that was the one he met in college. So I was dating this girl in college. I think I was like 21, 22. I'm a lover, like, you know, I'm a giver. Like, I just want to make people happy and make people's dreams come true. So when her and I were driving, and I was like, hey, what car do you really want right now? And she was like, oh, I want like a Honda Civic Si. And I was like, oh, like we should go check them out. And she's always been talking about it too. So we went to the Honda, like on the east side of Vegas, and then my friend's dad was like the finance manager, I think. So we went in there, and she's like, oh, this is the car I want. It was like the last one, like spec'd out to the way she wanted. And I was like, we should see if if you can get it. She's like, yeah, I can because of my credit. And then she asked her mom, and her mom said no. And then I was like, I could co-sign for you. Brilliant me. So I asked him, I was like, if I co-sign, like, can she get the car? He's like, yeah, absolutely. And actually, when I co-signed, I was the first signee. So she was actually like technically the co-sign because I had better credit.
I'm confused already.
Yeah, no, same here. I don't even know how to spell credit. And down the road, she had like 3-4 late month payments, and she ruined my credit. But that was the
So your score went down to like the 600 range. And...
No, it went down to like the 500 range, maybe even lower.
Well,
yeah.
I remember you had a Nissan Altima. You were paying like $600 a month for. It was something crazy.
Yeah, just because my thing was so upside down, right? Like I think my weakness is always cars, because like, for example, I didn't get my license until I was like 21 years old.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm a DACA recipient and everything. So I was like, when I get a car, like I want a really nice car and this and that. And yeah, I think I bought 3 cars in like 8 months. And people see I'm financially terrible at things, and people are like, your roommate's Andrei, how are you financially bad? I was like, oh yeah, I don't know.
Angelo's the worst at finance. It's so bad, and I always try to talk to him, and I'm like, why would you buy this car? It's not, no.
Yeah, but my whole thing is like, I tell people, like, everybody has their poison, right, I guess. And I work hard, so I spend a lot of time in my car, going one location to another, like on shoots and whatnot, and I love road trips. So I don't know, I think it's worth it to me.
Well, let's talk money right now. Yeah. Go to the next level.
Right. Level 2.
Oh, level 2 already?
Spicier questions.
If I had my bucket, which I totally forgot.
Oh, no way.
No worries.
This is intense.
Are you an experienced sauna goer? I know you live here, so
No.
the sauna is present, but have you spent a lot of time in the sauna?
The only time I've always been in a sauna is with Andrei and his dad, and that was like in high school.
Yeah, I remember that.
So this is, like before this, I was like, oh, how was it? Was it hot? I was like, it was super hot. Like I was trying to build myself to it, and I was like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah, I dragged Angelo to go to the sauna with my dad, and my dad's super Russian, so his saunas are just unbearably hot, and I think you've never been to a sauna ever since.
No, yeah. I think it's been, oh my goodness, maybe like 15 years since I've been in a sauna.
Probably.
Wow. Well, I feel extra honored then that you joined us in the sauna today.
If I pass out, I don't know.
So I will say,
Gotcha.
Angelo's kind of the epitome of something that I love financially, but what you've done recently with your life. So one of the best ways to increase your income is to move companies, which for me was the hardest thing ever, because I was with one company for 10 years almost, right? I could never see myself move, partially because the industry Jen and I are in is kind of small with magic. Well, she's in showbiz, but I was in like really niche magic industry, so I couldn't move around.
Yeah.
But you did something pretty incredible, because you switched jobs, I want to say like 3 times in like 12 months, or what was it?
About 3, maybe like 3-4 times in about like a year and a half, a year.
You increased your income from like 50K to over 80K.
I think I doubled it. Yeah, I almost doubled my income about in a year and a half. Yeah.
That's incredible, just by moving jobs.
Yeah, which is crazy because I'm like a whole loyalist, right? Like my first company, I was there for about 7 years.
Yep.
And then when the things like hit, I joined another company for like 3 months. I actually took a minor cut. I took like maybe like a 5K pay cut when I went to this agency for like 3 months, but I knew it was like a minor setback for a major comeback, right? So for the next position, I've received like a 25K raise.
Yeah. But that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is that you just learned. I mean, not just learned, but okay. So Angelo, just for context, I want to say this was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? No, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. He comes up to me and he's like, Andrei, I want to learn how to do like video editing and shooting. And I'm just like, oh, that'd be awesome. Like, let me know if I could help, because I've been doing it for 20 years. And he would ask me these questions like, what's aperture? What's f-stop? What's shutter speed? What's all these
I didn't
things?
know anything.
He didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I watched you grow so fast.
Yeah.
In like 12 months, you were proficient with a camera, proficient with video editing.
Yeah.
You got hired. And what was the starting point?
I think so. What it was I got into it because, so I was originally like a marketer, right? I was doing marketing for one of the major casino companies out here. And I was like, let me learn photography and videography. So while I'm in these shoots, I can communicate to these guys properly. So they're not like, who's this kid? Like, whatever. It's like, no, he actually knows his stuff. Let me listen to him, right? So then that's originally how I got into it. But then I fell in love with it. And then I have a very addictive personality. So I submerged myself in it. I literally shot every single day for the first year. Like after work, I would go and shoot for 2 hours.
Just
edit.
constant videos.
Yeah, and drown myself in YouTube videos and everything, right? And then sooner or later, I got like these gig offers to do like product shoots for like shoe boutiques and whatnot. And then I ended up consulting for like Adidas, Nikes on a few things. And I got into the whole festival world, which is really cool. And I think I fell in love with this because such a small object can get you into these cool places, right? For example, like I had a photography friend. I was like, what's the coolest shot you ever done? He's like, I shot the Obamas in the White House. I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, like, but I was the only photographer. I was like, that's amazing. Like all just because of a small object, right? And then, and everything from then on skyrocketed. I actually told myself, I've stuck to photography the longest, like in my whole life. Like I've done every sport you could think of. I used to DJ. I like play the trumpet, the piano, everything. I was really good at it all.
Every hobby you could ever name right now, you probably have tried it.
Yeah, like I got really good at things, but I'd be like, you know what, like what's next? Like, like check, this is done. But photography and videography, I held that close to me, and I was like, I don't want to do this for money, like full-time job, because I really care about this. You know, I don't want to ruin it. But then eventually I started doing it, like, you know, more and more, and that's like my full-time job now. Like, you know, like I'm like I make content for the city of Vegas.
So how long did it take you after you learned video shooting and editing to get a job? And do you know what the starting salary was for that first job?
Yeah, so my first actual like photography videography job was for Caesars. I was like the photography videography manager, and my salary was 65 with bonus was like 70K.
Wow.
Yeah, learning all myself, and people.
And that was in like 6 to 12 months of just getting started.
Yeah, and people always ask me, "Is like how'd you get so good so fast?" Like I just immersed myself, and it's one of those things like you just gotta practice and do, right? And that's all it really is.
For anyone in our audience who's interested in photography or videography, even if not as a full-time career, I mean, now it feels like people are creating more and more content regardless of whether they're officially photographers, videographers. What are your top tips for a beginner, someone who wants their photos and videos to turn out better? What would you say?
Just shoot every day. And just practice, learn, you know, go out there and shoot. That's the only way you're going to do it. Because like, if anything, anybody can teach you everything, but if you're not practicing it, you're not gonna utilize and get better and whatnot, right? So
watch Peter McKinnon videos.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Peter McKinnon. I watched like Sam Kohler, Matt Como, and it was very like
Those
inspiring.
Guys are so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the reasons too, another reason why I got into all that stuff was because I think this world today is very materialistic. We live in a very materialistic world. So instead of like buying all these like nice shoes and stuff like that, you can go out and, you know, like experience all these adventures, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing about social media is that you get to share all these great adventures, and I wanted to capture these things, and that's why like I wanted to get really good at videography and photography, and that's why I fell in love with like people like Matt Como and Sam Kohler and everything. So
that is a cool element of photography and videography. Like you were saying, you've had so many interests over the years, sports, different things. It feels like with photography, videography, it's like you get the best of all worlds, because
Absolutely.
You could be photographing a gorgeous landscape, or you could be doing sports photography, or you could be photographing a couple that's about to get married. Like there's so much variety. You could be doing stuff for Las Vegas and promoting. So there's so much possibility, it feels like, that you can kind of experience all these different areas through photography.
Let's go to level 3 and get into some side hustles.
here we go.
All right. Woo. Side hustle time.
Hold on, let the heat absorb.
Oh my gosh, I think like my hair wax is melting.
Yeah, Angelo spends like 40% of his income on cars and the other 40 on his hair.
I get a haircut every 2 weeks. Like that's like my guilty pleasure.
Squeegee time.
Like,
Squeegee time.
Okay.
I feel like I'm soaking in here. And there's 5 levels?
Yeah.
The 5th one is shorter though.
Yeah, 2 minutes, right?
Yep.
Jen's like, thank goodness. I can't believe these mics like last in here.
Oh, they don't.
They're like condensating.
So far, we're one mic down.
Yeah, right.
But these mics are the survivors. They've made it through now.
All right,
a few podcasts.
squeegeed.
We're all squeegeed.
Angelo's kind of like the king of side hustles. So growing up, you found so many ways to make money.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we were kids, we would collect Pokemon cards, we'd collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I don't know how, but you would end up with like the coolest cards ever. And then I was that kid, but you never knew what you were holding.
Yeah.
And then I was that kid that was like, oh my God. He's
the one that always rips me off.
He's got this Yatagarasu.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it only has 200 attack points. You're like, yeah, you want it? I'll trade you it.
I remember. I was like, I got that card, like trading this kid on the city bus, and
we're talking about a Yu-Gi-Oh card, by the way, which looks like a bird, and it doesn't look like much, but
it was worth a lot of money. Like it was like the best card to have, and like you needed this card in every card deck that you had, right? Yeah. And then as soon as I traded it, I got off the bus. I was like in like apartment complex, and I was like, Andre, oh my gosh, dude, I got this card. Like it looks so cool. I was like, yeah, but like look at it. It's like 300 attack, 400 defense. Like this is terrible.
What do you want?
I was like, yeah, you're right. He's like, you want to trade? I was like, yeah, let's trade.
Well, hey, it was better in my hands because if it ended up in your hands, you would always get just robbed.
Yeah, no, it's true. Because we used to go to the Pokemon stuff and then people used to just...
I don't know what it was, but you would always get stuff stolen from you.
I think it's because I was like so nice, right? I think it was just I was so nice. I was like going with the flow.
I don't mean like people would like rip you off like trading. They would just like steal it while you weren't looking, which it was sad. But But on the flip side, though, as you got older, you kind of progressed and you got into different hobbies. Yep. And one of the things you got into was shoes.
Yeah.
You were buying and selling crazy expensive shoes, and you introduced me to that world.
Yeah, so I started collecting shoes back in 2002, and the reason why I got into it was, us kids, we used to play around all the time. We used to get dirty, right? And my mom used to, like, be really, really mad. Like, every time we go to, like, a nice place, my shoes would be, like, filthy. So she was like, you really have to take care of your shoes because when you meet girls, the first thing they look at is your shoes, right? It's
obviously.
It's like if your shoes
right,
are...
Jen?
No, but she was like, if your shoes are clean, then that means you're clean. Because what is the dirtiest thing on you? Your shoes, right? Because you're always stepping.
Is it?
Yeah. And I was like... And I say this all the time. And like, there's a lot of females that was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Which is weird. So I was like, okay, let me take this to the next level. Like, I should get some really cool shoes and keep them clean. Okay. So then I fell into this whole, like, shoe community world, and I started collecting Jordans and Nike SBs and, like, Adidas and all these different stuff. And this was, like, before, like, it was cool. Now, like, you know, there's, like, Instagram alerts, like, apps and stuff like that. Back then, you had to be, like, in these forums, like, know people. Like,
before social media, there were forums. You
had to be really about it. And then so I started collecting shoes as I grew up. I used to save my lunch money. I used to get $5 a day, and I used to save that up and buy shoes. If it wasn't the shoes I wanted, I would flip it for the shoes I really want.
Yep.
But eventually, I graduated high school and I sold my collection for about $60,000-$70,000, and that's how I paid for school.
What was the most expensive pair of shoes that you ever bought and you flipped?
So, like, the undefeated Jordan 4s, there's only, like, a certain amount back then. And I think there's more now. But I think that shoe goes for about $80,000 now alone.
Jeez.
I bought it for, like, maybe, like, $1,000, which was, like,
that's
crazy
insane.
back then. Like, back then, you're like, who's spending $1,000 on shoes? Like, I used to be made fun of all the time. It's like, what are you doing, man? This is dumb, you know? But, yeah, that shoe alone, right now, if I would have sold it, would probably be the amount that I sold my whole collection for.
Wow. Now, what are the factors that go into valuing a shoe? What makes a shoe valuable? Is it based on if it's a rare shoe, limited edition?
Yeah, so that one was, I think there was only like maybe 20 in the world. So it was like given to friends and family, right, of Undefeated.
How did you get your hands on it?
I forgot. I think I was like a dunk exchange, which was like this like meetup thing, and this guy had it, and I was just like, I think I traded like 6-7 pairs of shoes with this guy and some money. Yeah. And I was like, I just got to get this shoe. I've never seen this shoe before. Like, I didn't really know anything about it. So he's giving me history. Yeah. Right? And I was like, I gotta have this. And I think he saw the passion that I had about it, and he's like, okay, cool, like, I'll give it to you. But the crazy thing is like that I think the shoe didn't even fit me. It was like a 9.5, and I wear like anywhere between an 8 to a 9. Yeah. But
and some of the sizes are like the money sizes, right? Yeah. Which are the money sizes?
So the money size is what I wear is 8 to 9, right? And also there's the smaller size. We call them like the bay sizes, like size 4, like the size your girlfriend wears, because like usually you want to make your girlfriend happy, so you'll spend whatever.
Wow. And with that money, you used it to pay college.
Yeah, I paid off. That's how I paid college, all in cash, because I couldn't get any loans or any financial aids or anything. And unfortunately, I never graduated college. And so
Yeah.
that was like, a lot of people was like, oh, was it like a waste of no investment? I was like, technically no, because even though I didn't, walk out with a degree, I learned a lot about like college isn't for me. Like I was a bio major at the time for like 2 years. So I was like, I've learned that, it's not all about the money. So you got to really do what you love. And yeah.
How do you spend your money now? Because so for context, can I tell people how much you pay in rent?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I actually forgot. Hold on. Oh, I think I remember. So you pay me every month $450 a month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is like incredible.
Yeah, especially this house too. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a huge house and you got a lot of room.
Yeah.
But that allows you to save a ton of your money.
Yeah.
Which okay, so just for context though, what's funny to me, and I want to strangle you for this, is that for your car, between your insurance and your monthly payment, how much do you pay for your car?
My car alone is $900, with insurance probably another $200, so $1,100.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But once again, like, it's what I enjoy. It's what I spend most of the time with. Like I remember last year though, right? When I was working for the restaurant group, I was on like probably like 150 flights that year. I was barely home like 5%, 10% of the times. I was like the perfect roommate because I was like never home, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like at the end of the day, like you see it. I used to question that all the times, like, oh my gosh, like these people, like they spend all their money on that, but they're living like this, or vice versa. It's like, it's really what you enjoy in life, right? Of course, I'm not saying like it's a financially smart or whatever, but at the end of the day, like if it makes you happy,
for
like,
sure, we all get one. Yeah, we all get that one thing we splurge on.
Exactly, and then once again, it's not the smartest thing, but like it's something that I truly enjoy. And then, but yeah.
I don't just want to say like, oh, Angelo's so irresponsible with his money, but I think there's some awesome things you are doing with your money. But with that said, level 4.
Oh my gosh. Is my hair melted?
Angela's hair looks like it's perfectly intact.
I know. I don't understand the physics behind it.
It's a skill.
Not a hair out of place. And we thought we were the magicians here.
You know what I think? I think that's actually the shape of his head.
It's not hollow. It's my head.
I once saw somebody for Halloween put a roll of toilet paper on top of their head, and they had hair about my length.
Oh my goodness.
And then wrapped their hair around the roll of toilet paper and tied it with a scrunchie at the top, and it looked like they had just, like their hair was going straight up. It was the coolest thing, actually. I remember seeing that in the photo, being like, that's really neat. That's crazy.
So I will say, Angelo, one of the coolest things you do is you've retired your mom to Indonesia, and you happen to be a DACA recipient. So for anyone who's unaware, you and I were both immigrants. Like when we came to this country, we didn't know how to speak English. You weren't born here, and neither was I. Mm-hmm. But I got my citizenship when I was like 19 years old, right? And it was crazy. It was because my parents. My dad got a citizenship because he was like this outstanding athlete. So his lawyer built a really good case for our family. You, on the other hand, you've been living here longer than I have. You've been here since you were 4 years old. And yet you still don't have your citizenship, which is crazy. You have something called a DACA because you're a DACA recipient. And could you tell us about how...
So the whole DACA thing is like, I pretty much get a work permit, something that the Obama administration did, right? So if you were here at a young age with no criminal background, with a high school degree, you can get a work permit, and you have to renew it every 2 years, right? And they could deny you anytime if you have any criminal record or whatever, right? So I got that.
How often do you have to renew it?
Every 2 years. Every 2 years. It's about like $500-$600.
That's insane. And I remember you were so close to one of the deadlines.
So one time I had to renew it, and for example, like my DACA expired tomorrow, and it still hasn't came. And if my thing expires tomorrow, like my job could be like, hey, you can't come and work, right? So luckily, the day that expired, my new one came in.
Wow.
So like, it's like one of those very stressful moments I go through every 2 years. But it's just part of it, right?
And part of the money that you save, you were able to retire your mom. So your mom went back home to Indonesia.
So I retired my mom at the age of 24. I remember like I went to...
Sorry, how old are you now?
I turned 30 this year.
Okay, so 6 years ago, your mom went back home.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her since then. I moved to Hawaii to expand a company, and then one of the things I wanted to do was send my mom back home to Indonesia because I didn't want to leave her here by herself. She didn't want to, of course. She was a
single mom.
Yeah, single mom since I was 2 years old. I told her, I was like, hey, I'm old enough now. I could take care of myself. Like, if you go back to Indonesia, like, our family's there and you could travel and whatnot, right? So that's what I did. I negotiated a really good deal. I gave her the check. That was my signing bonus. I sent her back, and I give her money every month.
How much do you send her?
it just all really depends, right? So the beautiful thing about sending her to Indonesia is that the dollar goes longer.
Yeah, the low cost of living. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could send her anywhere between like 800 to maybe like 1,500 a month and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and Indonesia is great, but and the thing though too is like we own a house in Indonesia, so she doesn't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, and it's great she could travel outside the country there. Like here, like I can't travel out of the country,
Yeah.
so she like would be in Australia and FaceTime me, like, what are you doing? And I'd be like, I'm working. What are you doing? She's like, I'm in Australia. And
What?
I'm like, great,
That's
right?
incredible. Like for
That is.
Indonesia, $1,500 a month is like that's probably way above the average earnings
Yeah.
there. Like I remember my uncle and my family back home in the city of Astrakhan, where I'm from, the average income is like $350 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to be sending $1,500 to Indonesia, she must be living really comfortably, which is really cool.
Yeah, and like she deserves it, right? Like she stressed out her whole life to bring me over here and went
Yeah.
through all this stuff. So truly deserves it. And I don't know, it's so funny. Everybody's always like, when are you gonna have kids? It's like, I do have a kid. It's like, it's my mom, right? So
That's
that
really
must
cool.
have been such a proud moment when you were able to retire her.
yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I could look back and be like, I'm so happy, like I could do that, or continue to do that. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, tell us about some Ouija board stories.
Oh my goodness, can we even say that?
I think that's allowed.
So
So when I was a kid, we wanted to have an Ouija board, but we couldn't buy one because we were kids. So we would always go trash hunting, like dumpster diving, basically, right?
no, so you made one first.
No, right. But we would go dumpster diving to look for cool stuff, and we
Yeah.
couldn't find anything sometimes, so we would make stuff. One of the things I made was actual Ouija board. I found a plank of wood. I got a piece of cardboard. I cut out the little circle I put tape in the middle of it to get the little planchette going. I penciled it in, and then we would go downstairs to these racquetball courts we used to live.
Yep.
And it was like this creepy, haunted, kind of lonesome place. And then we would invoke these like crazy spirits, right? And be like, oh, is anyone here? And we'd have like 12 of our friends join in, and we would ask these crazy things like, is anyone here? And it's crazy, the planchette starts to move.
Yep.
Now, over time, we would experiment with less and less of our friends. We're like, which one of you guys is moving the planchette, right?
Yep.
And some of the things we saw, I can't explain to this day, like the things that have happened. Like, one time I asked the spirit, who, by the way, their names were Huey and Wayne.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like, they told us how they crossed over, which I'm not going to talk about, but they told us some crazy stories.
Yep.
And so we were like, this doesn't sound real. One of us is moving. I don't trust you. We were skeptical kids. We were kind of smart.
Yep.
Not really, but we weren't going to fall for it, right? So we were like, well, all right, then if you are really here, move something. Do something physical. So we would close our eyes. And then I remember closing our eyes, and then like 30 feet away, the racquetball court door just slams shut. And those things are heavy.
Yep.
We're like, what was that? There's no one here, right? No one here. Another thing we used to do to prove something is we would go in the corner and we would tell them something secret about like our family that I know the rest of my friends do not know. Mm-hmm. Like my grandma's name or something, her middle name. And then I would ask the question, hey, what's going on? And they would actually answer it.
Yeah.
So like crazy things like that have happened that I can't make sense of.
And the story goes on, like it goes deep.
The story gets a lot crazier.
Yeah.
So there were lots of memorable moments.
A lot. Yeah. Like
I mean,
we always have
Do
adventures.
you want to
and stuff
continue the
like
story, or do you want to finish it up?
No, I think we finish it up, and then if they want to listen to it, then we can do another
we'll have
take.
the extended version.
Exactly.
So after that point, another crazy thing happened. It's like I was like, oh, touch my hair, and then my hair would like start like kind of moving, and they'd be like, oh my god, why is your hair moving? It was just weird stuff that doesn't make sense. But anyway, we got so scared. One time, the last day we talked to them was we asked them a question, and they typed up for us, they're here.
Yeah.
Like, who's here? And they started spelling out DEMO, and we just panicked and ran out of there forever. Like we never came back. We threw
Demonstrator, a magic demonstrator.
Demolition.
Yeah. Demolition.
And we threw away the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not really supposed to throw away boards. You're supposed to
Give it
them.
away. Mm-hmm.
That's the lore. But we threw it away. Now, a couple months later, as we went trash diving or dumpster diving, we find inside the trash can a brand new box, a Ouija board, sealed, not opened.
Yeah.
Sealed in the trash can. Of course, we take it, and I don't think we use it, but we have it, and we're terrified because, of course, we're like, oh my god, it's coming back to haunt us, right?
Yeah.
In the front office of where we used to live, these apartment complexes, there was a map of the whole place, right? Just for fun, we put the planchette on top of the map, and we were like, hey, show us something. And the planchette moves to an apartment in the map. And we're like, what's that? I don't know.
Yeah.
The next day, we go to school, and there were police, fire like a crazy scene.
Wrapped up. This like
Turns
building
out someone was hurt, and
no. So what happened was the guy hit. Two incidences of that. They're no longer here.
Yeah. So. Long story short, the Ouija board story has just been crazy, and it's hard to explain as kids, but we have crazy stories like that, but that's probably one of the craziest ones.
Yeah.
Well, now that you guys are roommates here in Vegas, do you have another Ouija board?
No.
Nope.
Never.
You can't
never come in our house.
One, no. Yeah. I know I'm going to get that stuff sent in the mail now.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, Angelo, level 5, last level. Tell us, where can people find you? 1 sec.
Ooh.
Tell us, where can people find you on social media?
So I'm only pretty much on Instagram. My Instagram's Angelo B as in boy Clinton, like Bill Clinton. I hardly ever post because I'm, doing things for other companies or whatnot. But yeah.
Shout out though to Angelo's Instagram because in preparation for this convo, I was looking at his Instagram. Oh my gosh, those photos are beautiful.
Beautiful work, man. Yeah. Appreciate you coming on, and
thank you for having me.
I'll see you around at my house.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Peace. Bye. I don't know which camera to go to.
Holy, dude, I'm like,
let's open it up.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.